And we're going to start the evening as we do with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we're going to make a lot of new friends tonight. We have a lot of great things going on that bring a very diverse group of people here together. So I would like to start by granting Westwood Media Center permission to video and audio record this meeting. And as I mentioned, this is a live stream meeting, and it also is posted afterwards on the Westwood Media Center website. Is there anybody else who would be recording this meeting tonight? We just need to know and recognize that. Okay. Under the chairman's update, and I'm filling in tonight for Chairman Hickey, who had a last-minute conflict with this evening's meeting. The first thing we're going to do is something we do each year, and we're fortunate every year to recognize people who have worked for the town for 25 years, which means a lot of people who work with the town stay here for a better part, if not all, of their careers. First up, and over to the window, we have the Recreation Department, and I'd like to start by recognizing Taryn Crocker. Taryn joined the town of Westwood in 1993. She has started countless new programs, such as the very popular Funtastic Fridays, karate, and the musical theater program. She was integral in the inception of the original Westwood Day many years ago, and that made its return about 6 years ago. So that's been an important community event. Taryn's compassion and support for the families of Westwood over the years has always been one of her most notable qualities. Her heart is pure recreation, and the passion she displays for all the programs and events brings such joy to her coworkers and participants in the programs. I want to thank you for your service, and I'd like to invite Nicole Banks. Do you want to say anything while you're here?
Just want to...
Yeah. Oh, we like to have everybody on microphone here.
I just want to thank Taryn for her years of service and for our whole team for being here together. We do quite a lot of things together at the Recreation Department, including Westwood Day and all the great programming, and so it's an honor to be here to get to recognize her with this longevity award. So congratulations, Taryn.
Okay. We all know what time it is, but apparently we're not going to have clocks like this anymore. It's all digital. No. Isn't that beautiful? So this says, Taryn Crocker, in recognition and gratitude for your 25 years of dedicated service to the town of Westwood from 1993 to 2018.
No, thank you very much.
We have a couple of more. Unfortunately, they aren't with us, but I'd like to invite Chief Silva if he would like to make a couple of comments. We have John Salita and Daniel Fafara, both completing 25 years of service on the Westwood Police Department. Chief, we're glad you're here. We're sorry they can't be here.
Thank you. So, first and foremost, even though they're not here, to the extent that they watch it and for the benefit of the audience, 25 years of service in the police department, while extremely rewarding, is also extremely challenging. It's a lot of missed family events, a lot of weekends that you have to work, a lot of scheduling that comes up as the needs of the town get put before the needs of yourself. And that's the nature of government service, and it's certainly the nature of policing. And these are two employees that have done that for 25 years. They both have families, spouses, children. That's a lot of sacrifice, and so we certainly appreciate it. That's Officer Dan Fafara, who many of you may know. He's out in the community, has children in the schools, and he's done a number of different tasks for the police department, to include, most notably, I think, is a car seat installer, safety inspections as families are growing. So while he's sacrificing time from his family sometimes, he's helping the families in the community. It's such an important thing. Sergeant John Salita has had a little bit more diversity of assignment. He's been one of our school resource officers. He's been our department photographer. He also has advanced training in computer forensic type investigations that he helps us with. He's very technically savvy. And so Sergeant Salita is someone who also has provided great service to the residents and the visitors of this community. Sergeant Salita also wrote a letter that I was supposed to read to you, and I was trying fervently to try to print that out upstairs in my office. I wasn't able to do that, but he wrote a very nice letter thanking the board and thanking the residents. He stated how much joy he's always derived out of doing the various things on the police department, which oftentimes, as we know, is very sad. We don't always have the opportunity to see people under the best of circumstances, and it's while we have to just do our job, so to speak, it certainly takes an effect on our soul because, you know, we're all people, we're all parents, we're all spouses, and so he listed some of the things that he's had the opportunity to do in the schools and with the families. And so while I'm sorry for the technical difficulties that we were having, that I wasn't able to print that out. In fact, that's why some of the doors you see are propped open. We were working on that this afternoon because in this very modern, beautiful building, occasionally computer glitches happen, and so we're dealing with that. But I just wanted to offer my thanks and congratulations to Officer Dan Fafara and Sergeant John Salita.
Thank you. I too want to share our congratulations. It really says a lot, both Taryn, for you, John, and Dan, for serving the town for 25 years. So a round of applause for the people who Jeff just. Please congratulate them for us.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On to our first agenda item. We have tonight the opportunity to recognize police explorers. Sergeant Sicard and Steve, would you like to come up here to the table? Because you're going to speak, and we need to have you by the microphone, so that makes it easier. Okay, you're going to take the lead here. Do you want me to say anything, or do you want to go into who's being recognized? What's your preference?
I would just like to talk a little bit about the Explorers real quickly and
Please.
just give a little bit of an update. I'm proud to say that here in Westwood, while a lot of communities are folding their Explorer posts due to lack of interest, we actually have the opposite problem. We have a waiting list of people who want to get in who can't right now because we don't have enough space to do it. Even though we have the nice big room, it's just physically difficult to have too many people. So we're capped right now at 18 kids, and that's a great sized group to deal with. People have seen the Explorers around town helping out with the various events from Little League Parade. They were out there Saturday helping with traffic for that. Westwood Day, of course, tree lighting, all types of different activities. So while other communities are struggling, we're doing really well. The other thing that I'd like to report on is that right now we have more officers involved in helping the Explorer program than we ever have in the past. Instead of it just being myself and one or two other officers, I'd say we have at least 6 or 7 that do it on a regular basis that help us out, which is great. So the award that they're getting tonight is called the Presidential Service Award, and it's based on your age and the number of community service hours you put in. So there's 3 different levels, and the number of hours you have to put in varies according to how many hours you put in. These kids, at times when it's difficult to get youth to be involved, are actually involved with their police department and a lot of other programs, as you'll see. And these kids put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, which is very commendable, especially for young men and women in today's age.
Well, that's great, and we're happy to have all of you here tonight. You have the awards for each person?
Yes, we do.
So let's start with Lucas. Okay, Lucas qualified for the Bronze Award in the Young Adult category, students age 16 to 25, and you joined the Explorer Post in August of 2015. And then Haley. Hi, Haley, how are you? Haley earned the Gold Award for the Teen category for students age 11 to 15, and you joined the Post in September 2015. Brendan, you qualified for the Bronze Award in the Youth category, students ages 16 to 25, and you joined the Explorer Post in August 2015. Then Jillian, hi Jillian, Gold Award for the Teen category and completed sophomore year at Westwood High and joined the Post in August 2016. Margaret qualifies for the Gold Award in the Teen category, completed sophomore year at Westwood High, joined the Post in August 2016. And Lily, hi Lily, she has the Gold Award for the Teen category, completed sophomore year, and joined the Post in August 2016. So not only do you have a big group? You have a group that stays,
Stays with us. And
2015 and 16. Good job.
And as, in case anybody hadn't noticed, we have a lot more women than we've ever had in the post as well, which is great.
Paul, we notice.
Okay, just checking.
Congratulations, Paul. Maybe over there? Yep. Okay. We're gonna do a photo. This is the photo card, I'm sorry. I don't got a photo bomb. I don't know. Let's mix and mingle here.
We're probably shorter than all of them.
I'll go with
Doesn't
that.
help.
You see everybody?
One, two, three.
Good to see you. Okay. Okay, so next on our agenda, we have a very special presentation to receive tonight. We have representatives from Westwood Masons Lodge, and they have really done a superb job in fundraising for a community citizen, Lisa Lennon, who, through a very tragic event, finds herself in need of the town's support. And I would like to invite Bob Vartanian. Bob, would you come over to the table, because we like to have your comments picked up by the microphone. Yeah, gentlemen, please feel free to come over. Tell us about your efforts and what you're here tonight to do.
Well, I am Bob Vartanian. I am the District Deputy Grand Master for the 6th Masonic District, which encompasses Westwood and Norwood. And there's 7 lodges that meet in my district. And I represent the Grand Master of Masons in Massachusetts, which is the 3rd oldest Masonic entity in the world. We have 4 lodges that meet in Westwood, right down the street at 655 High Street. Our history started back in 1773 in Massachusetts, and we have about, I would say, 600 to 700 members in our district, and about 30 to 35,000 in the state. Some Masons that you may be aware of, some of these names may conjure up memories: George Washington, Paul Revere, John Wayne, Red Skelton, Shaquille O'Neal, and also Steve Wozniak, who's the co-founder of Apple. We're all Masons. So we are quiet people that kind of hide in the corners. But when we heard about what happened in January, we felt compelled to help. One of the pillars of our institution is charity and helping our communities. So what we did is right after the tragedy happened, we had a district quarterly, and I met with all the members, all the masters from the district, and we talked about how we could help. And what we did is we saw an opportunity to have a Super Bowl party. And even though the score didn't work out the way we wanted it to, it was very well
Some
attended.
people were happy.
Yeah, some people.
They weren't New England.
Do we have any Philadelphia fans here? So at the party, we raised some funds, and we collected some clothes and clothing for the baby. We had a second fundraiser in early April. That's the reason why we kept on putting this off until we got that done. It was a Three Stooges marathon. It was great to see the Three Stooges again. And we raised additional money. So I think the total number, and the secretary from the district has the check, was over $3,500 for the Lennon family. And multitudes of items of clothing for the baby. We did get donations personally from some of the past masters. Willow Salon in Millis, actually, I have no affiliation to them, but they heard about it, and they helped with clothing and money donations. The Masons have partnered with Westwood for many years, and that's why these two gentlemen are here. I just want them to talk. This is Worshipful Mark Lutana, who belongs to Celestial Lodge, who actually owns the building down at 655 High Street. And behind him is Right Worshipful Stan Gaw, who was part of Prospect Lodge, which is another lodge that does a lot of work with the Westwood community. And then we have some other Masons standing over there, Brother Bob Corey, Brother Nathan Miller Foster, and Worshipful Robert Shedd. And they were all instrumental in helping us in our fundraising activities. So I'd like to just really turn it over real quick to Worshipful Lieutenant, who has give you some idea of what Celestial Lodge does with the town of Westwood.
Please.
Thank you. Thank you for making time for us tonight. I wanted to use this just to highlight a couple of activities that we do want to publicize, let people know about, because they might be able to either help or take advantage of. So the first is the blood drive that we host every 2 months, the Dana-Farber Kraft Family Bloodmobile. You may have seen it on every 2 months on a Saturday, parked there. We have been working with Dana-Farber for 5 years now, and before that, Red Cross for quite a few years. But just over the last 5 years with Dana-Farber, Westwood residents and surrounding communities have donated 595 pints of blood. And this year is our best year since beginning to work with Dana-Farber. So right now, we're at 202 pints for trailing 12 months. Our last blood drive, 40 pints, the one before that, 45, which is pretty close to capacity for a full day for the Bloodmobile. So we're very delighted. And at the same time, we want to continue to get the word out because it has such great impact. The blood is used directly at Dana-Farber and saves them quite a bit of money and, of course, helps them save lives. The second activity that I want to talk about is the Celestial Masonic Angel Foundation. So this foundation provides direct aid to children and families that are in need as identified by school counselors, by school nurses, by the Westwood Youth and Family Services. So if one of them identifies a situation where it's possible to help, they contact us, and within 24 hours, we will provide direct funds if we approve it, which we almost always do, because they know what to look for and what kind of situations we can help with. 100% of the funds go to the children. In other words, our lodge separately pays all of the overhead associated with this 501c3. And over the last 8 years, we've helped 162 families and dispersed over $40,000. So it's something that's important for the different people that I mentioned before to be aware of. Thank you very much.
Terrific.
And I'm going to turn it over to
And I might
Mr.
mention
Gaw.
that Worshipful Lieutenant is also a Westwood resident. And this is Right Worshipful Stan Gaw, and he's a Norwood resident, but don't hold that against him.
We won't. We like our
I'm
neighbors.
just a golf drive. I'm off of Oak Street, so I'm not that far.
We love our neighbors.
I don't think too many people we're considered a secret organization, but all we are is an organization with a few secret identifying things. Other than that, most of our ritual is wide open for the public to know. And if you go to the Library of Congress, it's all published down there. The basic purpose of our organization is to improve ourselves and mankind. And we are affiliated with certain charities, such as the Shriners Hospitals. You have to be a Mason to be a Shriner. And that costs us $3 million a day to support that. So we have a tie to that, as well as the Newton Learning Center for Dyslexia, where kids go there to get straightened out that way. Has anybody here heard of the Challenger program? Okay, well, 25 years ago, a Brother Mason started this Challenger program in Norwood. It was a sports program for special needs kids. And I'm telling you, I work closely with this organization. This is a wonderful thing, and I feel so good when I get home from this. They have soccer, football, basketball, all the sports, and they have a big party at the end of the year, which the Patriots attend and help us out that way. And there were about 20 to 25 kids from Westwood who are part of that now, and it's grown to the point where it's from Needham to Braintree and from Dedham to Foxborough. So it's getting bigger and bigger. At our party this year, we had around 150 kids, just at the breakup party and the awards banquet and everything. We also support, this little lodge here in Westwood supports the homeless vets in Boston, the Special Ops Warrior Fund, where any warrior who loses his life in a covert operation or something that we don't hear about, his children are educated right through college because of this fund. We sponsor a Crotchet Mountain. You've probably heard of that hospital. We sponsor the J.D. Foundation of Maine, the suicide prevention. A lot of kids up in Maine are committing suicide. There's an epidemic up there right now, and it's really sad. We support the food pantries of Westwood, Norwood, and Rosendale. And last but not least, there's a family that just moved into Norwood, and their baby is 10 months old, and it's in Children's Hospital right now on dialysis 10 hours a day. It's a 10-month-old baby, and they're trying to build this child up because the father's going to give him one of his kidneys. So we have been supporting them and providing housing for them, et cetera, while they're going through this. They originally came from Virginia, but because of the hospitals up here, they came here. So this is basically what we are. But what we need is a little guidance from Westwood with regard to the needs of Westwood. Some people said, well, why don't you contact the senior citizens home? We need somebody, a contact in Westwood, to let us know what good we can do in Westwood. So if you could let us know, or get in touch with Right Worshipful. By the way, that title, Worshipful, let me explain that. That was a judge's title in England in the 1700s. I don't know whether you're aware.
Wayback Machine, right?
Yes. So when they decided to use that title for the masters, and I'm a right worshipful, which means I'm a little higher up the ladder. But but that's where that came from. It's nothing other than that. And our organization is and part of the ritual says that charity extends beyond the grave to the boundless realms of eternity. And that's what these men are doing. They want to make their own lives better, but also the community and mankind. And that's what we're about.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and thank you for what you do. We do have a very robust services department with Danielle Sutton, who heads up Youth and Family Services. Christine can get you the contact information. We have a director of the Senior Center. You're already in Westwood. We have other community organizations serving people in need, like you're identifying, so there is definitely access to information and people.
Good.
And we appreciate your presence in the community. And on behalf of Lisa, I want to say that it is remarkable what you have done, and I'm sure much appreciated. And you know, Westwood, what makes this community special is that we take care of each other. And that can come in many forms, and it can be simple gestures, and it can be more significant things, but we need to do that. And I think that's what we all take great pride in this community.
And I could say that I personally have children that went to the Dyslexia Learning Center.
Did you?
So yes, so I'm very familiar with the program, and still go back there from time to time as well. So I appreciate all that you've done. I know how hard it is to raise money, but you guys seem to have the master, if you will. So thank you for all that you do, and I'm sure on behalf of the Lennon family, she'll be very happy for.
We appreciate this opportunity.
Thank
Maybe
you.
you'll have a chance to say hello. Are we doing anything else other than letting them say hello?
No, we can bring it outside and we can, yeah.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and we wish you good health and a wonderful little baby. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming in. This certainly isn't the usual Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, but as I said, I think we're all making new friends tonight. You can see what great people we have here in town. Okay, on to regular business. We have a request from the Porsche dealership. You're here tonight, Nora's here.
Nice to meet you.
We have been asked to consider a request for a one-day permit allowing an extension of hours of operation for the Porsche Westwood dealership located at 411 Providence Highway. Nora, why don't you comment briefly, and then we'll see if there's some questions.
Sure. So Mike called probably about a month ago to request a one-day license. You may recall that we implemented a bylaw, I believe it was about 3 years ago, that allows the selectmen to give a one-day license for extended hours. Normally, retail operations cannot be open between midnight and 6 a.m. So unless they request and obtain a one-day permit, Porsche would like to open on June 16th?
June 16th to 17th.
Right. So if you could explain maybe a little bit
Sure.
about the event?
Porsche's heritage has always been in racing, and this year is Porsche's 70th year in business. And June 16th and 17th is the 24-hour of Le Mans race, which is a race that they've participated in since their inception. And to honor that event and their 70th anniversary of being in business, we would like to hold a customer appreciation event, which would be a catered event, alcohol-free, where we're going to invite 40 of our top customers in as a way of just saying thank you and assisting them with their vehicles. If anyone's obviously seen the construction that's been around, we've exploded in business, and we just simply don't have enough time in the day to get done what we need to get done. So we're trying to go hard for 24 full hours and squeeze everything in.
And word has it you're going to be there that whole time?
I will be there, and my wife is due the very next day, so
my
with our
goodness.
first baby. So she's not happy about the timing there, but we're gonna try to get it done.
First one?
And Plan B is what?
Haven't come up with Plan B yet.
I think you should. Something is not in your control in this scenario. Okay. This isn't something that required neighborhood notification.
It did not, no.
It's just within our discretion.
It is.
Do you have any questions, Mike?
I don't, and no alcohol, it's just food, and it's
Right.
only, what, 40, maybe
contained.
50 people?
Yeah, and it's, I mean, not all at once either, obviously,
Right.
over the course of 24 hours, so,
And it's fully indoors, there'll be no
Mhm.
exterior noise.
correct.
So, I move that we approve a one-day permit pursuant to section 321.2 of the, for Porsche Westwood, located at 411 Providence Highway, to operate and conduct retail sales and service between the hours of 7 a.m. on Saturday, June 16th, and 7 a.m. on Sunday, June 17th, 2018.
I will second that. Is there any discussion? Any input? Chief? No? Okay.
Any
Public?
concerns?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none. All right.
Okay, thank you
Have
very
a
much.
good
Good luck.
event.
Meet you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And
Get the
Good luck on
license
your-
signed
good
and
luck,
tomorrow.
yes. Good luck and good luck.
Good luck, and
Come up with Plan B.
you got 24 hours to work, so you don't have to figure that one out.
Don't miss the birth.
No, I would never. Thank you very much.
Plan B. Okay. Wegmans. Okay, next item on our agenda is a request, not a request, it's actually an informational portion of our agenda. Wegmans is going to expand Instacart sales. We're all becoming more familiar with that concept. So that's in place, and would like to expand so that the Instacart sales and delivery service can include the sale and delivery of beer and wine. Great. So Wegmans first received its wine and malt beverage license in August of 2015. That license was recently renewed and is valid through December 31st. And we are here tonight to learn about what is in place. Let me just preface it by, we are not the decision-making authority. You have already received that approval, from what I understand, at the state level from the ABCC. And we're here to learn about what you're doing, and as the license holders at Wegmans, we do have authority over that, so it's kind of separate, but it's touching, right? So I would be happy to turn it over to you folks. If you could identify yourself for the record when you speak, I'll let you go ahead.
My name's David Orlovsky. I'm the store manager at the Wegmans in Westwood.
Hi, and I'm Ryan Black. I am the Senior Manager of Legal Operations at Instacart, and we'll be partnering with Wegmans to facilitate the delivery.
Okay, then my first question is for you. Have you done this before?
Yes, we have. We're currently delivering alcohol on behalf of our retail partners in 12 states. It's something we like to do where we're permitted to do so. Instacart always takes a very proactive approach and meets with and describes our model to state regulators. So it's something that we work with state regulators to get buttoned up before we launch. And indeed, that was the case when Instacart began delivering alcohol in Boston back in 2016.
Okay. And has Wegmans done this anywhere before?
Westwood is the first store to test it, and our Natick store is gone live with it as well.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to see, do you have questions, or should we ask Attorney Miller, special counsel to us on these matters? Would you like to comment briefly, sir?
Well, I'm very familiar with counsel for Wegmans, who's here, Mr. Devlin and Joe Devlin.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you both. We did have a discussion today on the phone about this, and you know, I had asked questions about vetting with the ABCC, which obviously is very important, and he assured me that that has taken place, and they have obtained their transportation permits. Certainly, Joe Devlin is very familiar with the laws of the state concerning alcoholic beverages and the quantities that can be sold, and all the rules and regulations, which, as having done this for a long time in the town of Westwood, I understand how serious this town takes the sale of alcohol, and I know you've conveyed that to the license holder. So everything that I've seen, and based on the report from the Art Commission and speaking with Joe Devlin, seems to be in order.
So you touched on something about quantity. Dave, can you talk about how, from Wegmans' standpoint, you plan to oversee or impose any limits on quantity of sales? Is there anything that you'll be following?
As far as how much we can sell to be transported, we already enforce that rule with our everyday shopper. We would enforce the same rule with the Instacart shopper.
Okay.
So the luxury for us is that we're not changing anything we do as far as our strict standards for requiring proof of age. And we've gone the extra mile and went through and had each TIPS trained cashier sign off on an instruction sheet as to the Instacart shopper and how that process works. So.
Okay.
And one of the things, just so I did, this is Joe Devlin for Wegmans, is that a lot of times, like a delivery, I have lots of single entity package store clients that have a van, and they license it with Section 22, because a lot of times the section, that's why you get a Section 22 license. You can actually transport more than the alcohol that's limited to personal transport. And so that's a pretty big step on their part, that the Section 22 license actually allows them to transport more, but Wegmans is going to keep it to the amounts that they now limit their own shoppers for personal transport to. You know, I think that's an important, the way I, you know, not being a computer person and not being very functional with my computer or my iPhone, it's probably got more power than I'll ever use. It's sort of an Uber for personal shopping, and I said Peapod on steroids, and I made him laugh. So it's
that was so yesterday, right?
I know BJ's just started delivery this week too, so.
Oh, really?
Yes. So can I ask, I mean, I know we said there were limits, but what are the limits? I mean, how much can someone get in one order? So I'm sitting on my couch and I decide
Party
I
time.
want something. I just go online and you're gonna deliver it to the door. How much can you deliver?
Well, in the typical Instacart order, maybe 1 to 2 bottles of wine or 1 6-pack is what's most typical for our orders. So that's what we usually see. The upper limits, I understand to be something more along the lines of like 20 six-packs. So certainly our shoppers, don't want that order either.
And they can deny, the shoppers themselves can say, I'm not going to bring that order.
The Instacart shoppers,
I'm not feeling
yeah.
comfortable. About 8% of their, do I have that right? About 8%
That's
of
right.
their sales include alcohol, and then the alcohol product averages about 1.4, containers, so like
Right.
1.4 bottles of wine is the average of that 8%.
And the 8% covers just those 12 states where we're permitted to deliver alcohol and currently doing that. So it doesn't take into account grocery delivery in other states.
What happens if the scenario of a party, somebody, there is a over 21-year-old and the order is within the limits, but the upper limits, and the delivery person embarks on this, all looks good, one person answers the door, but behind the scene, there's something else. How are they trained to?
Instacart's shopper training for alcohol delivery consists primarily of 3 parts. The first is really making sure that our shoppers understand the criminal and civil penalties that go along with not following alcohol laws. The second primary part is being able to assess visible intoxication of the recipient, in which case alcohol delivery would also be refused. And the third part is ensuring that the ID is valid and not fake. Part of the training as well consists of having shoppers use their best judgment. In this particular case, this is specifically addressed in our training, shopper is told that if you show up and someone of legal age answers the door, someone over 21, but you see several minors in the room and it's a situation like a party where you suspect that alcohol is being purchased to give to minors, the shopper should refuse delivery and return the alcohol to the retail location from which it was shopped as an undeliverable alcohol product. Same as if someone underage answered the door or if there was no one home at all.
Interesting business model.
So do they use, how do they check the IDs? I mean, nowadays they're getting pretty technical, so how do your deliverers check the IDs?
It's a great question. So shoppers are trained to inspect the ID visibly, and they'll do things like look for the necessary watermarks just to make sure the ID's not fake. We also do license and employ technology through our shopper app that scans the barcode on the back of the ID. That information is then transmitted to Instacart, not stored on the shopper's device and not available to the shopper after the delivery, but it makes its way into our alcohol delivery records that we provide both to Wegmans and the state upon their request. So scanning a fake ID would produce an error, and it will also basically give the shopper an indication of over 21 or not.
Sure you want to do this?
Yeah, I think we'll do a good job with it, yeah.
I can say this started about 8 months ago of telephone calls and conference calls. I reminded you that I had been on a conference call with you a long time ago, and it certainly was, there was some back and forth about.
I'm sure.
And I think one of the things to remind, Wegmans is not stocked with, aisles worth of Bud Light, and, that's not what they're trying to do. So in the delivery, this to them is a kind of higher end delivery service, rather than having their own licensed Section 22 vans, which they could have. This is sort of a more elegant way of doing it, but in those calls that we had, the importance, it was reminded, hey, but this is our license, and this is our image. We are Wegmans. We're not, up by me, Cigarette City, which, sells massive amounts of Bud Lights and Natural Light, and that,
It's a different business.
Yeah, so.
I had a thought earlier, and it just came to mind. Wegmans business transcends Westwood.
Right.
Yet you're here before Westwood, and
Right.
things could happen in, delivery obviously goes elsewhere. I don't know. I don't know what my thought is on that, but we govern their license here, but the sales go everywhere else. It's nothing different than the license already, right?
Correct. I mean, they're
People
licensed to
buy and
sell anywhere in
take
the
it.
state,
Yeah.
basically, to anybody that comes into the state.
From anywhere.
They can, if they choose to deliver out to Springfield, I suppose they could do that.
Okay.
They can go to Needham?
They can definitely go to Needham.
Will they
There are- There are quite a few stores that do that.
You can't go out of state. So it is an interesting, we had some conversations about, people in Westwood will most likely drive to the Westwood store because it's close, but someone in Dedham who doesn't want to kind of fight their way across, or West Roxbury that doesn't want to fight their way across, but does want the product. And this isn't just alcohol, it's going to be, the other foods that they have there.
Right.
And it's an easier shopping experience, and than fighting through the traffic. So.
Well, shopping experiences are changing. We're ever evolving, and I think this is what this represents right now.
That's exactly it.
Nora, do you have any comments as our Economic Development Director that you would like to share?
I think you've addressed most of them. The Alcohol Review Committee looked into the situation. They were concerned, one, about the limits, to make sure that Wegmans imposed the same limits that they were imposed on their other customers. And the second was about the ID checking and making sure that there's a record of that ID in place somewhere in case there were any problems.
Any other questions or comments?
Jeff can
Yes.
report on what the regional police chiefs have discussed about this.
Chief Silva, would you like to report on what the regional chiefs have discussed on this?
Sure. I'm trying to get on the microphone here. Alex Protocol. Here, Chiefs. No, I don't mind.
We're very accommodating here.
I'm used to it, playing with my son, so. So all the regional chiefs, as Mike mentioned, had a conversation, not really about this issue, but this issue came into it, about trying to get some uniformity in the way we do compliance checks with service of alcohol, delivery of alcohol, underage drinking, and so forth. And, we have plans in place to try to monitor this the same way we monitor other things, and candidly, sure, mistakes can happen, but most of the problems we encounter are less thought out than this. As council mentioned, they could, take a Section 22 delivery and be delivering voluminous amounts of alcohol by way of comparison, and there really wouldn't be anything we could do about that to stop it. So I think the fact that they're not is an encouraging start for us, and we shared that in our conversation. This would not be the typical thing we were concerned about, but we will include it as part of our compliance checks. And that takes lots of forms, just like we do with any of the compliance checks, whether it's the so-called cops and shops where we have undercover police officers, or shoulder taps to see if they'll serve to underage people, or surveillance of known locations, or using, underage agents, if you will. We have a wonderful cadre. You met some in our explorers that are they're under 21. We didn't bring all of them, so you couldn't memorize their faces. And so that's something that we've already planned for, and we intend to do.
Okay, great. I appreciate the discussion, and thank you all for coming in. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I guess I have one question. How'd you get it by in the State House? That's all.
Get it by at the State House? Well, the State House is changing, too.
It was
Yes?
funny. I went to, I think you were actually there, I went to this committee meeting, and it was talking about some issues with phones and things like that, and everybody on that committee was under 40 on the House committee, and they were like, and I love my farmer distillery, and they said, I love ordering things on my phone, and it was like,
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Well, as always, we are very happy Wegmans is here in Westwood.
We're happy
And I
to
would
be
not
here.
miss a moment to tell you that.
Thank you.
And we know you take this seriously.
Very.
And we need you to take this seriously. We need you to take this seriously because we want it to work. We don't want there to be any problems. And beyond that, somebody else has said yes, and we just say we hope it is good for your business and is handled appropriately. So thank you for coming in and sharing the information with us and responding to our questions. We really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Good to
Thank
see you again.
Nice seeing you,
Nice
Nancy.
to see you all. Okay, under new business, it's not actually all that new. We have a request for the approval for the fourth,
Steve,
good
thank
night,
you.
Steve, for the fourth annual run for the Vet 5-mile road race. It begins in Norwood and goes through Westwood. It's being requested to be held on May 19th, beginning at 9 a.m. at Norwood High School, the usual route. It takes it through Oak Street, Pond Street, Clapboard Tree Street, and Winter Street. I have no questions on this. Do you have any?
No.
Okay.
Except that it'll be the royal wedding, but that's all.
I'm
It's up
sure,
to The runners to get back in time to
there
see
you
it
go,
all.
there you go.
So I move that we approve the 4th annual Run for Veterans Road Race to take place beginning at 9 a.m. on Saturday, May 19th, beginning at the Norwood High School, where parts of the 5-mile race will come to Westwood, including Oak Street, Pond Street, Clapboard, Tree Street, and Winter Street, in conformance with any requirements of the public safety officer.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
None.
None. Okay, given Chairman Hickey isn't here, we won't do minutes. I guess we have one more thing on the annual town meeting warrant. So, we've been keeping on our agenda discussion of the town meeting warrant, just in case. And we know that Finance Commission has completed all its review and voted all its positions on the warrant articles, and I'm sure that's going quickly to print, so it will be in the community's hands within the requisite time for town meeting. We have a request that staff has provided us specifically as it relates to Article 11, and we have now, let me just read this so we have it in the record. In preparing final plans for the Planning Board's consideration of Islington Center redevelopment project special permit, Petruzziello Properties ordered an engineered survey of all parcels involved in that project. The survey revealed discrepancies between the lot areas noted in the tax assessor's records and those recorded under the engineered survey. Article 11, which requests authorization for the disposition of town-owned properties, had originally been drafted using the tax assessor's values for parcel sizes. Those parcel sizes have now been updated to reflect square footage values, which are consistent with the engineered survey results. And were those survey results shared with the Finance Commission?
Yes, they were last night, yes.
So that's all part of their review, and we just want to amend the annual town meeting warrant to replace the previous square footage values with the appropriate surveyed square footage values. Any discussion?
Nope. So,
Any comments need to be made? No? Okay.
so moved.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, I started to say on minutes, given Chairman Hickey isn't here, I think we should put some time in May 21st, and we'll get caught up on all our minutes so we can all be part of that review. And I just want to make another note that the Roy London Humanitarian Award ceremony is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. It's being held at First Parish Church on Manhattan Street, and the public is welcome. It's a great night where we get to recognize some wonderful citizens in our community for their humanitarian efforts. And then otherwise, is there any other business that may come before the board? Nothing else? Our next meeting is Monday, May 21st, here at the police station. It will be at 7:30 p.m. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.